good. I think it's fine. How are you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm good, man.
Oh, good.
Just figuring out these technical difficulties.
How's the weather over there? Looks like it's sunny.
Well, we've got this. This is the second day of sun,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then before that, it's just been like raining, grey,
Yeah.
windy. It's
We're
been the
having days like
coldest.
that here too.
It's the coldest summer we've had for like a really long time.
Do you live in is Dover, right?
Live in Dover, yeah, man, right on the sea.
Uh,
Wait,
How is
are you in Porto?
I'm Porto. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
Sweet.
I need to apologize once again that I missed your concert here
Oh,
because
that's all right, man.
for I didn't knew that you're playing here. Things here, I think they are not. I don't know because uh, if somebody should know about that, it was me, and I didn't knew. And also, it was during a time that we are moving houses, so our heads were spinning at that
Oh,
time.
I know how that is,
So
man.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, I really wish I went. How was the gig?
Yeah,
How
it
was
was great,
the
man.
tour? I guess.
Yeah, it was great. That show was with the Black Angels.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, which was at Hard, I think it's Hard Club. Is
Yeah,
that
yeah,
right?
Heart Club.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was wicked, man.
nice.
Really, really cool. It's the first time we've ever been to Porto.
Oh, great.
We played in Lisbon before.
Yeah.
We played Lisbon Psych Fest.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was the first ever one, like 2015 maybe. And that to be honest, that show has always been like one of our favorite memories as a band. It was just such a good. The gig
Yeah,
was
yeah.
amazing. The crowd was great. The venue was great. And we don't normally get many days off, and we managed to get a day off after the show. So we
Mm-hmm.
got to hang out in Lisbon for a day, and then we got to go to the second night of the festival. So everyone kind of remembers that quite fondly.
Mm-hmm.
Because normally you just play and you see nothing, you know, you see a backstage room and that's
Yeah, I
about it,
imagine.
and the sound
Yeah.
check, and then you have to go. So it was cool to spend some time in Lisbon. So yeah, this year was the first time we'd been back in ages, and I actually got to see a little bit of Porto. I got to go for a walk for maybe an hour, not much, but it's beautiful, man.
Yeah, I
There's so
hope
much
you can.
verticality to the city with the bridges and the riverway and stuff.
It is, yeah, for sure. Lisbon is a little more flat than here. Here
Mm.
is, but I hope you can come back here with more time and, so to get to know better
Yeah, I'd love to,
the
man. I
city.
didn't. I wasn't aware that you. I didn't know you lived there. Like I should have told you, man. I didn't really think about it. I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
so like hectic. We had a tour in March booked for months, and then the Black Angels sent me a message and was they were like, "Do you want to come and play with us in January and February?" So we already had that tour, and because it was so last minute, I had to kind of not everyone could make every show, so I had to figure out some different lineups,
Hmm.
and it was just like super stressful, man. So I was the same, like that was the same as you. You know, you said you were moving. I was
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
same kind of like scattered mindset, just trying to figure out who was going to play guitar for some of the shows and stuff. It worked out great in the end, man. It was wicked, but it was it was a bit nuts before we
Yeah.
did that. We only had a few weeks to figure it out.
And how normally do you put together the set list? What things that you need to have in consideration?
Um, well, we full of like set ones that we almost always play because they just usually we're playing somewhere new, you know. So
Mm.
we figured like we've played them a million times, but
Yeah,
to
yeah,
these
yeah.
people it's new, you know.
Mm.
Like we often play Skull Groover. I think we always play because it just always goes off when we
Hmm.
do that live, and we play Semperfi quite often. Heady Ideas we've started doing a lot in the set because I mean, it's one of our most like streamed songs.
Oh,
So
yeah.
we play that, and then we usually kind of keep a couple of those set ones and we rotate them, and then we build sets around it. Um, and we'll just learn new ones here and there and change things in and out. But we play in two different tunings. which can be a bit difficult. So
Hmm.
we have to think about like the set in like chunks of tunings. So
Okay.
like we'll open on one tuning, so everyone's got the right guitar, and we'll do maybe like 4 or 5 songs in that tuning, and then we have like a quick switch, and we choose a song that works, for the switch. Everyone changes guitar, then we'll play the
Yeah.
next like block of songs, then we switch again, and we finish back in the other tuning. So
Okay.
we have to think about we kind of figure our sets out in like blocks, and then we
Like
take
groups.
things in and out. Yeah, we take
Yeah.
songs in and out.
Hmm.
Um, and when you get it right, it's really seamless, man. It works really well because you can stay in the same tuning, and kind of transition the songs into each other and things like that. But I mean, quite often some of the guys just say to me, "Oh, I really like this song. Can we try and play it?"
Hmm.
And it will just be something from one of the records, and then often I can't remember how to play them because it was so long ago. So I'm like, sure, man, I'm gonna learn it with you too, because I don't remember.
Yeah, that's
Um,
something
yeah,
that I wanted to talk with you because I think we are kind of similar in that way. Is that I noticed that you're very prolific, that you're always creating something new, and that you have already a ton of material. And I am that way too with visuals. We do a bunch of stuff simultaneously. We are kind of like workaholics maybe in a way.
yeah,
So yeah, I would love to, to hear about that, your creative process, and also how your band deals with that, because I imagine that you're always like showing them new stuff and they have to know how to play that too.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We have to, yeah, I have to get everyone together and like try and explain each bit, and I'm like, oh, there's this new tune, like check it out, but it always goes well, man. Like we get
Yeah.
on really well. We've all been together for like we had a lot of different members over the years, but the lineup we have now has been pretty solid for like a really long time.
Mm.
Like so it's quite relaxed, There's not um like ego problems or like any
Oh,
of
that's
that sort
great.
of shit. We're just like good friends, and it's kind of like family. I
Mm.
mean, my brother's in the band, so some
Yeah,
of it
yeah.
is family. And
Mm.
our drummer, we've been playing with him for 9 years. The bass player has been, I think, 8 years now.
Mm.
So, it's very easy going. But like I say, sometimes they're teaching me the songs. Like our bassist, he often messages me and he's like, "Oh, I'm listening to one of the old albums. We should play this song." And he's like, figured it out, and I'm like, I can't remember what it was, because like you're saying, you make a lot of stuff. When you make a lot of stuff, you kind of forget how you did it
Yeah.
sometimes. I'm sure that
Oh
happens
yeah.
to you. Like you forget
Yeah,
exactly
yeah.
what you were doing.
Yeah, sometimes like when we do like a music video and it takes a lot of time to be released, and then when they release and I'm taking a look again, I'm like, yeah, I did that. I didn't even remember that I did it. Yeah, I did. It was a lot of work, right? Yeah. And in the moment it's very hard, but I think right after it's done, it kind of like put it, goes to the subconscious, and
Yeah,
and you're already like focusing on another thing. So yeah, I identify with that a lot. But with you, like the ideas for a song, like how do you think they come to you?
I don't know how to explain it, man. It just kind of
Yeah, it's hard.
it
It's
just
a
kind of
bad question.
happens.
It's a bad
No,
question.
no, it's not. It's just like I guess it's like I think a lot of people say this, but it kind of feels like you're tuning into something and
Mm-hmm.
like and you're kind of downloading from like somewhere else almost or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have that's like half of it, and then there's half of it where you're actually kind of controlling where it goes, but
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't feel like it's totally you or something. I don't know how to explain it really. Sometimes I don't usually write a song when I'm like trying to write a song.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best way I can explain it. Is Like there's a song I wrote recently. I personally, I mean, I think everyone says this when it's new, but I feel like it's one of the best things I've written. And
Hmm.
it came to me while I was just sitting on my bed watching like some trashy movie, like not really paying attention, just strumming the guitar, just kind of half asleep. And I started playing some chords, and then a melody, ideas for lyrics came, and then before I knew it, I had this new song.
So
So
that's
it just
that's a
happens that
way,
way sometimes.
but that's a way like playing in the guitar, like instead of like coming from lyrics, it normally comes more from just trying to create a sound with the guitar.
Yeah, it's normally me playing either
Yeah.
mostly a guitar or sometimes
Mm-hmm.
keyboards or a beat. It can sometimes come from a drum beat, but
Mm-hmm.
usually it's just me strumming around, and then like I'll do something and my brain's like, wait, what was that? you know,
Mm-hmm.
and then you get more into a little piece you just did, and you kind of like evolve it and figure out where it can go. And then I'm usually mumbling like nonsense, and sometimes like a line or two will come, and that line kind of gives me an idea of what it's about, and then I kind of expand it from there. I don't normally write lyrics first. I have done it, but the only sometimes I'll write lyrics first if I'm like walking. I listen to music a lot on headphones. It's like my favorite way to listen. I might start if I get a song stuck in my head. Sometimes I start singing new lyrics to someone else's song.
Mm-hmm.
I've done that before, like just
Mm-hmm.
kind of by accident, and then I realize I've got some good words, and then I change the melody and make something new with them. So that's usually if lyrics come first, that's like the only way it happens. What about you, man? What's your like when you have ideas for visuals?
So I think because we when we do visuals, we kind of already have half of it. We already have there's a song, so there's something, to extract, the ideas. So we try to listen a lot of the song, pay attention to the lyrics, of course, and see what kind of the songs asks from us. And we it comes a lot from references too. Like now we have like a bunch of illustration books, and sometimes during the creative process we like to just take some books and go see the pages and look for some inspirations. But yeah, I think it's important for us to know if the artist has any ideas, because sometimes the musicians or bands they come to ask us to do a visual, and sometimes they already have uh, a thing as a story or an element, an idea, and they kind of just want us to execute their ideas. And sometimes is the opposite. Sometimes they don't have anything in mind. They just kind of created the song. They are not sometimes they're not even into music videos. They just need something, to promote the music, and then we
Yeah,
are more free to create. But what we always do, and that's why the name of this show here is Moodboard, is that we ask them to create a mood board, to put together like some images, and this can be anything, can be like photos, can be a piece of clothing, it can be an image that they saw online, a book, anything that they feel it could connect well with the song. They can send a typeface, a font, anything that they feel that is related. We like to take that, and then we kind of create a mood board of ourselves using what they send us. That's how it's it's our process normally. Yeah.
yeah, it gives you like a kind of a little bit of an aesthetic direction on what they might want, I guess.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
need some kind of reference, don't you, with that kind of thing? Like you need
Yeah. It's
somewhere to start, or it's a bit like it's
yeah.
like I don't know if you agree, but I find it can
Oh,
be like
yeah.
almost a bit endless, and it can be hard to decide like what kind of way you're gonna go.
Yeah,
when you can just do
sometimes.
anything.
Yeah, sometimes it's like that. The when you have too much freedom, it's hard because you don't know where to go, I guess.
What do you
Uh,
prefer? Do you prefer like doing just they just let you do what you want, or do you guys enjoy like having a
I
idea
I,
to
I
execute
think
on?
I like both. I think I can learn with both ways. I think the idea, the thing that's most fun, it's kind of more in the middle. Like we recently did a video for Dream Colors. Don't know if you take a look with some characters, and they had an idea for the video. They show us a picture, a photo, and they told us, oh, we really like this photo of two kids on a beach during the night. And yeah, it was good because it was simple. It was something that from that photo we could expand and create a lot of things, but we had that kind of seed to start. And then all uh the visual aspect, like the aesthetic, the colors, and everything else, they were super free for us to do what we wanted. So that was a
Yeah,
good mix,
yeah, that sounds
but
like a good way to do it.
yeah, but
Yeah, when you
you
don't have
can.
a
Sorry, go
sorry,
ahead.
when you don't have that, you said you have a seed. When you don't have that, you kind of it's like you're just kind of free falling, and you're
Yeah.
trying to grab onto like somewhere to start. And then I find as soon as you get that, it's the same with writing music. You get like a little, you're just playing the guitar, not paying attention. You get a little thing, and you go, hang on,
Hmm.
there's a song like in there somewhere, and it gives you
Yeah.
that like an anchor, and you can kind of grab on, and
Yeah.
then you
Yeah, it's kind.
put
Then
around it, I guess.
start to put in water, try to put the sun, and then that thing,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
starts to grow. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I also I don't know if probably it was not last year, 2 years ago, that you guys released an instrumental record, right?
yeah. Too.
Using more samples, more electric drums, right? Electronic drums,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, I
It's
really loved that record. I think, and I remember that it was kind of like a experiment for you too, at the time, right?
yeah. I think that was the first time I started talking to you, man.
Yeah, probably.
Around
Yeah,
around that
probably.
time, maybe
Yeah.
a bit before. Yeah. My So you're saying you were moving home and stuff.
Hmm.
We've been like doing the same thing, and it started around the end of 2019, right when everything went crazy,
Hmm.
and then we're still like renovating, but um, we've been in that process for like 3 years. And in that time when I made that album, most of my equipment was in the storage unit because I didn't have anywhere to keep it because I
Hmm.
was in the middle of places. I was like staying with family, and it was like, well, you can't have all your equipment in here. There isn't the space. So I had to put it in a unit, like my drums, all of my amps and stuff. The only thing I had was like a guitar, which I couldn't record because it was an electric and I didn't have an amp. Um, I had like a MIDI keyboard. Can you hear that?
Vaguely. No, no worries.
So
Yeah.
someone's like mowing the grass.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a MIDI keyboard, and I had a bunch of like I basically have my archives of recordings, everything I've ever made. Like you keep all the files. I'm guessing you're probably the same with video.
Yeah.
So I've got loads of drum recordings and stuff from all different old songs.
And sorry, can I
So I
ask
kind
you,
of
are you organized with that, or it's pretty messy?
yeah.
Pretty
It's,
organized?
I'm actually pretty organized. Yeah,
Oh, that's good.
it's
Yeah, I
one
am.
it's one it's one place where I am quite organized.
Oh,
I'm a bit messy in my head, but with
uh,
with that I'm okay. But
mhm, great.
so I had all that stuff, and then my granddad passed away in 2020 at the start of the year, and I really, really wanted to make something for him. And obviously, the thing I can do is music, so I wanted to make a tribute to him, and I was so like desperate to do it that um, I took that MIDI keyboard, I went through all my old recordings, and I started to write songs just with the MIDI keyboard and different sounds. And I'd hear like if I had like an idea for a beat, I'd go through all of my old stuff and find the closest thing to that beat because I've recorded hundreds of songs. And then I would like cut it up and change the tempo and kind of edit it. Or I guess it's more like a hip hop production or something, that kind of way, and like
Mhm.
kind of fit it all together, like cut it up and fit it together, which is really exciting because I've never really worked like that. And I managed to make something, and I was really happy with how it turned out. And then I figured I'll just try and make a whole record just with that keyboard
Mhm.
and like I had a couple of like 808 samples and then all my old drum recordings. And that's it, just went from there, man.
Oh, cool. But would you say that your inspiration about your grandfather, it was your grandfather? That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
You think
yeah.
that was kind of like around all the music, all the
It's
tracks and everything?
definitely, yeah, it's definitely in like most of
Uh,
it for sure.
yeah.
Um,
I think it's a great record because it's very different from the stuff that you guys. I can definitely feel that hip hop kind of production
yeah,
that you said, and the if I remember correctly, the album opens ends with kind of like a recording of his voice, right?
yeah. So the start is called Bluebell. That's my sister's name,
Mhm.
my little sister, and that's her voice. Like the childish voice that's like
Oh,
singing,
okay.
and you can
Yeah.
hear all the adults like encouraging her.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Well, my granddad used to have this tape there, and he used to hide it down next to his chair that he sat in.
Mm.
And then when we were in his house as kids, he would like sneak his hand down and start recording us.
Oh
And
yeah.
then he'd play it back, and we'd all be confused, like we can
Mm.
hear our voices. He'd like kind of mess with us. And that was one of the recordings, is he recorded my little sister. Like
That's great.
that recording is like over 20 years old. But I
Mm.
found it because I've got all these tapes of his, and you can hear his voice talking to her on it. And then at the end, so he used to record himself playing piano sometimes on cassettes. And my sister's voice cuts off, and then you hear the old recording from before, and he just plays like a big chord on the piano.
Mhm.
And I don't know, it just seemed like perfect to me, man,
Yeah, yeah.
so I had that as the intro. And then um, in at the end of like 2019, he was like talking to my nan, and they were kind of they used to tease each other, and even in their 90s, you could tell they were still like having fun with each other and just really in love. And I thought, I'm going to get him back. I'm going to record him. And I recorded him on my phone, and he didn't know about it. And I recorded him and my nan having this conversation, and I used samples from that on the last song. So that's his voice talking when I think he would have been 94.
Mm-hmm.
So
Wow.
it's quite recent. And I was really lucky I got that. I
Yeah.
just had this feeling. I was like, I need to record this moment. Like, I need it.
Uh,
And then obviously when he went, I had something I could use.
That's
And
great.
then,
Yeah, that's really
so yeah,
beautiful.
I thought it was a good way to kind of bookend it. It
Yeah.
moves around in between. Some of it's not really to do with him, but most of it is. And it comes back to him in the end.
So moving on, yeah, I really want to talk with you about this track with Pete that you are going to release. Probably it will be released when we are releasing this podcast. So yeah, can you talk a little bit about that track? Why did you choose Pete for that? How was the entire process?
Well, I wrote that song like around the same time I made the album for my granddad.
Oh yeah.
I was writing a lot of music at that time because, like everyone, I didn't really know what to do with myself.
Yeah.
And I wrote that song, and then, well, I wrote most of it, and then kind of forgot about it. And then during that time, I come back to it, and then like all the lyrics came, and I just suddenly like finished it in an hour after not touching it for like 6 months. And then I was really happy with it, so I went on Instagram and did like a live version of it. Just, like when I do the videos with the looper pedal
Mm-hmm.
and layer it up, and I did one of those. Kind of forgot about it, and then Pete sent me, I think it was the, might be like a year later, Pete sent me a message and just said that he sent me a really nice message about that song. And I think he'd seen that live video. Um, and he just said he really liked the song, and he mentioned like, oh, it would be cool with like some strings, and he said a few things. And I said to him, well, I haven't recorded it. Do you want to record it together? Because it sounds like you have some ideas. And obviously, I've loved his music for a long time, since I was like, a teenager. So I just said, do you want to do it? And then he said, sure. And then that was that. I did like I recorded it basically exactly how I did the kind of looping demo. So, when I do the percussion with like mutes and like palm hits and stuff like that, I did all of that stuff how it was, and then sent it to him, and then he added like this like winding, really sugary like synth part and the strings, some like cool stuff on my vocals and things like that. Like the shimmering kind of tremolo reverb, and we just sent it back and forth, and then till it was done, and then we mixed it.
Oh, that's great. So he reached out. He really liked the track.
Yeah. I woke
it was
up
not
to a
something
message.
that you, you know, did and asked him to do. He was interested.
Yeah. I mean, I'd spoken to him like here and there before about his music and stuff a little bit,
Yeah.
but yeah, I just woke up one morning to that message, which is it's really cool for me, man, because he's great. But I do remember like writing that song and like kind of thinking briefly of him, and like I was like, yeah, this is kind of a little bit spaceman. He'd probably like this. So it was cool, and he messaged me, man, really cool. And then I took the chance because like I say, he seemed to have some thoughts, so I thought I'll take the chance and just ask him. And he said, yeah. So yeah, that's how we did it.
Oh yeah, and I guess you got lucky that he probably had some free time during that period.
Yeah.
Because he's a busy guy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he was just at home, like at his studio.
Do you know if he took a lot of time to work on that, or it was pretty quickly for him?
I think we both did it fairly quickly.
Yeah.
We were just throwing it back and forth, like
Yeah.
took maybe I don't really remember.
There's
But
anything that he added in particular that you felt, something that maybe you wouldn't think of do with the song?
I really like the synth that he put on it. It's like really sweet, and it kind of, I don't know if you know the part. I mean, you can hear it. It kind of it fades in like the second verse, and then it goes through the whole song, and it just kind of winds along like do 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 do. It keeps going all the way around, and it kind of counters the main thing that I was playing, which is really cool. I liked that a lot.
Yeah,
I loved it. I got him to turn it up. I was like, man, turn it up. I really like it. And then I like what he did with the vocal, because he put this tremolo that's in time with the beat, but it's not heavily on my voice. It sounds like it's kind of underneath, like I sing the line, and then it shimmers out afterwards, which is, I feel like that really has his like signature thing, because I've always seen Pete and Spaceman as like tremolo, like a massive part of that sound. So it's really cool to have that put on my voice.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, it's sounding great, and yeah, like you're saying, the things that he do with the keyboard, that's kind of like he's a kind of like a master with those sounds too.
Yeah, like sweet electronica, like
Yeah.
really, it feels really sweet. That's the best way I can
Yeah,
explain it. Like sugary. It's cool.
His last album with Bear, I think it sounds a lot very sugary too.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
it's great.
That's good, man. And how about the lyrics of the song?
Uh, that was kind of about like, I guess it's kind of like cognitive dissonance, like when you think you know someone and it turns out it's not really what you thought they were.
Mm-hmm.
And whether I guess it's partly because they put up a mask, but also maybe you want to see something that isn't really there and you kind of trick yourself too. That's
Mm-hmm.
kind of what it's about, I guess.
Yeah, that line,
Um,
sick and tired of being sick and tired. That's
yeah,
definitely
yeah.
got stuck in my head while I was doing the loop because I was trying to,
Oh yeah,
uh,
yeah.
find a good spot to, to use the track. And oh,
Yeah,
and
when you send that to me, man, I mean it looks really cool. Like thanks for doing
oh,
that. But like
oh no, yeah, sure.
you picked the exact part that I would have picked.
Oh yeah,
As just because when you're sharing this stuff on social media, you need to like grab the best bit that's gonna pull someone in, I
yeah.
guess. That's the exact part I would have gone for too.
Oh, that's great. Yeah,
Like exactly to the bar, man. Like I was that
oh
was
yeah.
quite surprising.
Yeah, I normally try to do that instead of like just put in the beginning of the track. I like to, to go more in the middle and find a part that, that, yeah, that can, show more of what's the song about. And
Mm.
yeah, I since like we are a visual studio, I would love to ask you more about uh, the your artworks and your designs. I know that they are very similar in kind of like all the albums and singles and stuff. Like I noticed that they all have very like minimal color scheme, like 2 or 3 colors, and they are very flat. So I don't know. It's you that the designer, or somebody from the. It's you. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
me, yeah.
yeah. That's great.
Yeah.
And what are your like reference or stuff visually that you like?
I guess when it comes to music, if you ask me about like music history and where I'm pulling things from, I'm way more knowledgeable. But when
Yeah.
it comes to visuals, I know what I like and I kind of usually know why I like it. I'm not great at kind of knowing where things started and what the history is. I'm not that knowledgeable about art,
No, yeah,
but
yeah.
I guess it's kind of to me it feels a bit like kind of almost pop art or like 60s movie posters. Like I like quite often I'll see like retro film posters and I'll see the fonts and I'll take a
Mm,
note of them. I take
oh,
I don't know if you do this, but if I see something that's cool, color schemes or fonts, so I always take a picture
yeah,
and remember it because then you've got those elements to pull from. Because
yeah,
I think that's one of the hardest things is like finding a good font
yeah, for
can
sure.
be really hard that feels good and color schemes. But I'm not the most like versed artist, you know. So it's kind of simple because that's what I'm working with, I guess. But
No, but I think you definitely, you have your style, and it's not like I say, you can see like just scrolling through your artwork on, let's say, Spotify, you can see that it's very cohesive. You see that it has a style. So and yeah, you're mentioning pop art, and I also think that's very Andy Warhol, in a way, using those dual tones of colors. And yeah, I think it goes super well with the music too.
thanks, man. I'm pleased with how it turned out. I think they do sit together well. They all kind of look
Hmm.
it's very similar, but I think they're different enough that I don't know. I wanted it to fit together, but not be too varied.
No, and they always, have a different color scheme or a different main color. So that's good to separate the releases. This sounds more like a purple, and this sounds more like yellow. Kind of
Yeah, yeah.
a.
I love that high like saturated look. Where the high
Hmm.
contrast look, where you
Yeah,
just get
kind
the two
of
shades, like a comic
looks.
book or something.
Yeah, a comic book or a stencil, right?
Yeah, yeah, like that. I've always
Yeah.
loved that look, and I once I figured out how to do it, that was like I'm gonna go with this sort of style. There's a couple for the next few records that I'm especially excited about. There's one that I did with the jellyfish, and it's
Mhm.
got like 4 colors, 4 panels. I think it's like probably maybe the best cover I've made. I'm quite excited about that. It's a little bit
I'm
more
curious.
intricate.
Curious,
I don't know if I can show you it. I might have it here.
Yeah, I remember
But
seeing you sharing some drawings that I guess you did when you were a kid. So
yeah, I used to draw a lot when I was young. That's how I started out doing creative stuff. My
mm,
uncle's really good at drawing, so when I would be like, I was like 5, and he was sitting there teaching me how to do perspective. You know, how to pick a point in the page and make everything look like it's going towards that point
mm,
and things like that. So I
mm,
was quite good with perspective and stuff at a really, really young age because I had someone showing me that stuff, which
that's
is
great.
cool. He can really draw. He can do calligraphy and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I used to draw a lot, but then I got a guitar and it satisfied the same kind of feeling, that feeling of making something from nothing. But I felt like I was much better at music. And once I started to record myself, I felt like I could get my ideas out much closer to what they were in my head than if I tried to draw. I wasn't as good at drawing. So I
Mhm.
kind of left it behind. But I still do it for the album covers, but it's digital art, so it's different.
And your record label, Flower Power, it's you that is behind that. You are
It's
managing
like
that.
family. It's me, and it's not just me. Like
Okay.
I deal with a little bit of that, but it's not. That just started as a way for us to put our stuff out independently, but properly with a proper label, proper cataloging,
Mm-hmm.
things like that, proper distribution for it and things. You need a label to do that, really. Or
Mm-hmm.
I think it's better if you do. Um, and then recently we've started working with other people, which is quite exciting. Like we've got the Confederate Dead on there, and we've got do you know a band called the Kool-Aid Electric Company? I don't know if
Heard
you've heard of
about
those
it.
guys.
That
We've
name
got
rings a bell.
I've been helping them put their second album together,
Mm-hmm.
which is going to come out on Flower Power, and they haven't made a record for a long time, so it's quite exciting.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
It's really good stuff, and so
Yeah.
there's plans to do more with that. But for a long time, it was kind of just for us to self-release. So yeah, we've got some plans for that, but it's not just me. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great. Make sure to include some of those bands on the playlist if
yeah, I
you.
will, man.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I already have got some of those on there. I'll send that to you soon, man. I keep deliberating over it. Like I find it really hard to whittle things down to a few songs.
I imagine. Okay, I think we have a nice talk here. It was really nice to talk. I could talk the whole afternoon, I guess.
Yeah, man, it's nice to talk to
It's
you. I mean, if you
yeah,
want to chat, just let me know, man.
yeah, for sure.
It's cool to talk
And
to you. You seem like an interesting dude. We
thanks.
should do something together.
I would love to
We
because
should make something together.
yeah, your stuff is really inspiring and it's really the stuff that I like to listen. So like I say, I'm a fan too.
Sweet, man.
But